Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Julie with JovesStar Astrology. Happy lunar eclipse in Libra. We have this eclipse coming through tonight at midnight where I'm at. So it's an eclipse that's happening overnight, but we know that eclipses or any lunar event, the energies are at play long before and even after. So, yeah, something could happen in the middle of the night for you in your dreams. If you have all of that dreamy, mystical sort of Pisces stuff going on in your personal life, where you have a really heavy 12th house. But this eclipse is an ending or a culmination that is likely extended from the the Libra solar eclipse that we had in October 2023. So you could find that there are themes that have been carried on from some kind of situation that popped up in October that is now either coming back up or has been sort of there's some kind of a source of or situation that's been sort of growing and evolving over these last months. So eclipses tend to bring us significant changes, especially if we have placements that are being hit directly by the eclipse. And so Libra is a cardinal air sign ruled by the planet Venus. And so if you have Libra placements, this eclipse is happening at 5 degrees of Libra. We'll take a look at the Sabian symbol. But 5 degrees of Libra, so we're talking the opposition is going to be in the cardinal sign of Aries, and there will be squares to Cancer placements and to Capricorn placements. So if you have any significant placements in any of the cardinal signs between about 2 degrees and about 8 degrees, you're going to feel this one likely significantly. But again, it's probably something that you have been dealing with for these last months anyway. So we're going to break down. Let me see, just make sure that I'm not getting, okay. I'm going to break down the factors in this eclipse and just show it to you, pop it up on the screen. And we'll take a look at what's happening here. So here we have it. We have the lunar eclipse, and the eclipse really, when we read the astrology, is marked by the fact that the sun and the moon, the full moon, is traveling with the nodes, and we have the nodes in Libra and Aries, and those are the nodes of the moon, and they are said to bring fated events. So likely whatever is going on for you, now is the time during a cycle where things are coming up to be dealt with, right? There's change and growth that is required during these cycles, and that's what we're dealing with now. And of course, collectively, we're all dealing with these Aries and Libra eclipses. But eclipses tend to recycle things, right? They shake things up, and either they are turned into a different form or taken away. Sometimes things come back in, but these are fated events that are designed to help us grow in one way or another. When we talk about Libra and Aries, we're talking about all things relationships. Yes, they can be significant romantic relationships, but they can be any kind of partnership or relationship. So even something that has to do with your work, it could have something to do with how you feel about how you are being treated or people are being treated in the world, what's fair, whether or not we can negotiate those things. So a lot of these themes have been coming up. We can see them, playing out in the world, but now these eclipses are coming through and we're talking about it personally, we could be experiencing some big changes here in very short order, actually. So we will break down, obviously, the ruler of any event is going to be very important to look at. And we have the ruler of the moon and the south node, Venus, which is over here in the sign of Pisces. And Venus has had a little bit of difficulty lately, as she has just passed over her conjunction with the planet Saturn. So could she have run into some icy cold situations? She could have in her expression. She could be putting art into form. That's another way. It doesn't always have to be negative, but nonetheless, Venus has moved away from her conjunction with Saturn. And so at least now she has an idea of what she's up against, whether she's happy about that or not, or she understands or knows how to move beyond that or reconcile it. That's a different story entirely. So it could feel a bit heavy, depending on what's going on in your life. So although Venus in Pisces is it's exalted in the sign of Pisces, when we find her in between Saturn and actually by conjunction, a wide conjunction, the planet Neptune, that's a difficult place for Venus to be. She's butted up against some kind of limitation or requirement, or something that feels like a wall, or is placing her somewhere where she feels very alone, or pressured in some way, and moving towards a planet like Neptune, where she may be headed for the resolution of something, right? In a very, magical kind of way, or she could be heading for the realization that something is coming to an end. And we're talking about Pisces. Pisces is where we experience a rebirth, so an ending and a rebirth of something. And actually, Venus at 16 degrees of Pisces, and I know this Sabian symbol and what it represents, does talk about an Easter service. So what do we think about when we or what do we talk about when we're thinking about Easter, right? It's a resurrection of sorts, but not before. Obviously, if there's a resurrection or a rebirth, there has been an ending of some sort. And so Venus is sitting right there. And was there a sacrifice that she had to experience as a result of that? Possibly, especially coming through Saturn, or at least some kind of difficulty there. So, yeah, this eclipse is talking about a rebirth and a resurrection of sorts, but not likely to occur unless we're either willing to let something go, sit quietly until we know the direction, or we are led into the direction that we're supposed to go, or we have the information that we need, or choose to push forward, right, against all odds. And that's just going to depend on where you are. So very interesting place for Venus, in between those two planets. A lot of people could be feeling very much underwater, emotional, sensitive, and unsure, or in very uncertain circumstances right now. And when we talk about Venus, we're talking about things that we love and the things that we value. And we're talking about potentially money and finances. And so, are any of you, especially if you're being hit by this eclipse, experiencing uncertainty and confusion around those things, right? Pisces represents what is what can disappear, or what we can't seem to get a grasp on. So I think we see a lot of that out in the world. So that's the condition of the ruler. So she's in a tough place right now. And she will be for a little while, but she's coming into a place where she is going to start to gain some traction and be able to get her head above water and see a way forward. She is in a sextile, which is very positive and can be helpful. She can see through the clouds. She has some support here in a sextile to the planet Jupiter, which talks about growth and abundance. And it can also talk about truth, and it can talk about breaking free, but it does talk about material changes, whether that would be in terms of growing or moving forward in some way. Whether it be finances or relationships, or just, being able to grasp hold of a new plan or stay focused on a plan, or maintain some kind of optimism. So there is some support for her, but it is really something that it's like a mindset, in a really tough place. It's sort of like looking into the future and realizing that, we are all about to embark on some kind of new adventure uh, that is going to, and hopefully will make us happy, right? That we're focusing on personally, which is what the North Node in Aries is trying to encourage us to do. So there's some support there, and it's just a matter of grasping onto that, whatever that might be, and trying to see the forest through the trees in some way. Uh, this another very powerful aspect to this full moon lunar eclipse is the fact that it is trining the planet Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, which is a very powerful aspect that can help us move things forward. So this eclipse is likely to be extremely powerful and transformative, designed to move us into the future, and maybe pull us away from something that we weren't supposed to be involved in anymore, right? Something that may not have been fair and balanced and equitable, Libra, and move us into the future, Aquarius. Sometimes when Pluto's involved, I mean, the trine is a Jupiterian aspect, so it can be a very, very overwhelming feeling of needing to move forward and create some kind of change. And it can feel energetically very, very overwhelming. So there can be anxiety even when it comes to that. But one thing for sure is, moving with that flow, moving with that change or with that break. And Pluto does represent, the death and transformation or rebirth of something, but it doesn't always feel good, right? Because Pluto is going to rip things out root and stem. But we have, it's likely the trajectory of whatever is going on. This eclipse is requiring a change or a break in whatever is happening. So, things don't happen to us. I mean, yeah, sometimes we're in cycles or we're experiencing things through eclipses where we actually experience an ending or a beginning, and something that we had no control over, right? So, if we're losing somebody, for instance, through, no fault of our own or circumstance that we couldn't control, that's one thing. But Pluto, if we have the power to make decisions and go along with the change, and, in the sign of Aquarius, this is stepping outside the box, right? Adopting new ideas. Definitely, it's an air sign. So it's about communication and movement and the energy of movement. And so Pluto is very much a factor and will come into play, and it might feel like it's a whirlwind, right? It's a whirlwind and it's overwhelming. So that trine is, technically supportive. It just depends on how adaptable you are. And I think that's the thing, is like being adaptable is going to be really, really important to come through whatever's going on, standing, on our own 2 feet. So wherever there's a trine in a full moon, there's going to be a sextile. And so there's a sextile to the sun in Aries. And so it's saying, okay, this is changing. It's coming back in. It's leaving. The form is changing. Are we compromising, in a relationship? Are we trying to, which we, satisfying both sides? Are we doing that? Is that something that can be done? Or are we taking, back our power and sort of throwing codependence to the wind, and because we need to, and we're standing up for ourselves, we're wanting to go off in our own direction? Or is it necessary that there's a break that needs to occur here so that we can move into what? Something new. That sextile Pluto is going to pull out whatever's going on with this Libra eclipse, but it gives us an opportunity to slide right in to where we're going next, right? What's new, where we're going next? Can we see our situation with brand new eyes? And can we use it as an opportunity to create a new beginning, right? Something that will hopefully make us feel healthier and happier. That's the idea. So very powerful, transformative eclipse if you're being hit by this. Now, when we talk about the other side of this eclipse, which is Aries and the North Node, and we know the North Node is traveling with Chiron, which is all about healing our own personal wounds when it comes to how we take action and express ourselves. It has to do with our physical bodies, and it's anger and it's aggression, and it's all things Aries, right? Being brave enough to embark out on our own and do our own thing and all of that. Mars is ruling that, and Mars is in an interesting spot during this eclipse. Mars is in Pisces at 1 degree and not making any aspects. As you can see, not making any aspects. So this is kind of a rogue Mars, right? So like Mars is kind of wandering out there, literally and potentially underwater, right? Very much unsure of its direction, very sensitive, very emotional. But Mars tends to want to take aggressive action, create change, move forward. And in the sign of Pisces, it may have difficulty doing that right now. Or it could be moving very quietly, right? So we kind of have to watch out too for, things that are affected by Mars energy these days, that we're not, that it's not like manipulative movement, or we're not being too silent, or there's not, harm going on behind the scenes that we're doing to ourselves or to others. Right now with all of this Pisces, it's really about regeneration, right? Recuperation. And some people may literally be in a place of where they're recuperating. With all this Pisces, we could be feeling under the weather, physically, emotionally, and otherwise. So it's a very sensitive spot. And with Mars being there, just may still be in a place where we're uncertain how to, which direction to go, and how we're going to start this, new project or new beginning. And it's going to feel a little soggy, possibly. So best to sort of just hold, wade, right? Wade in the water rather than do something that might be, kind of get us stuck in the mud or something. But yeah, a lot of us might feel, a little bit wonky and weird when it comes to either our bodies or making decisions or our movements in general. And of course, like, I don't know, I'm here in Arizona, we're having storms today. It's really cloudy. The storms and the temperatures have been kind of erratic. And I know in some of other parts of the country, and I'm in the United States, we're having some big storms. So it can also represent things like that. But Mars is going to come into contact with Saturn. And so that the next couple of weeks are going to feel a little difficult and maybe have us feeling a little bit stuck. But that's because there's a creation occurring and a contemplation I think we need to go through, and a recovery of sorts before we know the direction that we'll be taking, right? But it is a very intuitive time with all of this Pisces. So if you can slide into that intuitive, creative place, you're going to feel a whole lot better. So that's the eclipse. It's a very powerful eclipse. So yeah, we could see breaks in relationships, actual breakups. We could see changes in our business partnerships. We could see separations from work and employment agreements, or hassle. Even legal issues can occur with an eclipse like this. So it definitely kind of indicates that cooler heads prevail, but there's definitely will be a quickening to a resolution of some sort, or at least movement. And again, it's going to be about adaptability. So you guys will have to let me know what is going on for you down in the comments. I would love to hear it. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the Sabian symbols here. I'm going to take a drink here of my water. And I'm going to read the Sabian symbol for Libra, the degree of this eclipse. And so that's going to be, we round up, so that's going to be Libra 6, because the eclipse is happening at 5 degrees of Libra. So Libra 6, the ideals of a man abundantly crystallized. Keyword: personification. The theme is manifesting the ideal. This symbol speaks to a very concrete and outer manifestation of inner insights and realizations in the practical and everyday world. The image of the ideals of a man abundantly crystallized alludes to standards of excellence, beauty, and perfection, taking definite form or shape. The suggestion here is that the function of ideals is to inspire men to take positive action when opportunity knocks, and that to rest satisfied in the mental construct of the ideal itself is the ultimate escape. So I guess, we are being encouraged to change and to explore the options, and to kind of allow ourselves to dream and sort of float, within and amongst the possibilities. Man comes to be what he is as a result of the ideals he forms and his ability to live up to them, and he draws to himself the experiences he needs to refine them. At its highest, this symbol represents a unique ability to develop all potential to its highest expression through creative resourcefulness and uninhibited imagination. The negative side of this would be failure to rise above the level of mediocrity as the result of an uninspired complacency or the avoidance of commitments and the preference for keeping the status quo. So it definitely talks about change and the fact that change is necessary, but positive change, I think, will be supported more so than just, keeping the peace just because we don't want to lose a position or a relationship. That we really need to be able to balance out what it is we're trying to create, and how we do that with other people, and think about whether we're giving too much or taking too much. And that's what this Aries Libra nodal transit is about, a lot of it. The accent is on seeing your ideals manifested concretely. You may receive proof or verification that something you believed in and hoped was true really is. I like that. I think that this tells us that we have an opportunity to advance forward and transcend, into actually being able to concretely see the things that we've been trying to create, or that we've dreamed of, right? And an eclipse ruled by Venus. Libra is ruled by Venus. This does have everything to do with what we love and what we value, and that has to do with whether or not it's, whether we love a job or love a person, that what we've always longed for, and in Pisces, there's a lot of longing when there's so much in Pisces, right? Neptune is a lot about longing, and Neptune's been in Pisces for a long time. Your greatest advantage lies in holding fast to your dreams. Expect the best and be willing to work for what you want. Guard against losing faith and becoming bitter. Stepping stones would be substantiation, manifestation, realization, appearance, disclosure, display, reality, demonstration, embodiment, emergence, evidence, verification, documentation, proof, exhibition, incarnation, and representation. So, a lot of different words that kind of give us a clue as to the different kinds of themes that we may see popping up depending on what's going on in our lives. We may get what we need to make a decision to move forward. We may feel like we have to walk away from something to go towards something that we want. We may have to just sit with it for a while before we can make decisions. And that may be difficult, right? We may feel a little too sensitive and a little too underwater to actually see the way through, and that's okay. We can, if it's time to sit and recuperate and heal physically or emotionally, that's all right too. And, you know, when Mars hits Saturn, which is going to happen very soon, I think we're going to know what kind of action is going to be required of us, and how difficult that's going to be, and whether or not we're up for the task, right? We'll see, but the next few weeks will likely be a little uncertain and maybe a little difficult. Folks might feel like they're trying to figure things out on their own and not really know the resolution to situations. But it's coming, right? It's coming. And let's not forget that Mercury is in Aries, and that's about movement, and it's about fast movement and fast thinking and planning and doing things that are new. Yeah, we can use that to get started. And Mercury is going to be in Aries for a really long time. We are in a retrograde shadow phase now. Mercury actually turns retrograde on April 1st. So we'll have a lot of time to reconsider and talk about things. So likely whatever situation is occurring for you, there's going to be a lot of back and forth conversations, movement. And I think the trick is going to be, can we hold our horses, right? Can we keep our anger and aggression? Can we keep ourselves from tripping the start line? You know, like when runners are going to start, you know, there's a false start. It's like holding that enthusiasm and that drive to move forward or speak up or do whatever it is we need to do. Can we do that in a way that is sensitive to the other parties involved? All of those kinds of themes will come up, but the Mercury retrograde is going to be pretty on fire. And, you know, if you need that fire to get going, you'll probably get it, especially those Mercury ruled signs, so Virgo and Gemini. Watch out. But yeah, Jupiter will come into its conjunction with Uranus at the end of April. And Jupiter is also a ruler of Pisces, where Venus is at the time of this eclipse. So this is sort of like the beginning of the end before we have wrapped up this cycle and moved into a new one. So between now and the end of April, probably will be a lot of back and forth and reworking and trying to figure out what the resolutions are and what the plan is and where we're going. So I don't think it's going to wrap up fast and easy. There's going to be some work involved here, but there's hope, right? There's hope there that, you know, with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, either things blow up and, you know, that's when the actual break occurs, or when the growth just, you know, bursts out. So it should be interesting. And remember, we have before that conjunction, we have, and during the Mercury retrograde, we have a solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. So there's so much going on in the month of April. It's going to be pretty exciting for just about everybody with the Mercury retrograde, and we've got the Mercury ruled signs, and of course all the planets in Pisces and Aries and Libra. So that's hitting the cardinal signs. And yeah, there's a lot going on here. As Mars rules the North Node, we've got Scorpio folded in there, as well as Aries, and Venus ruling the South Node. So, you know, that's Taurus. And of course, Venus rules the Taurus, Jupiter and Uranus, where the conjunction is going to occur. So everybody's going to feel this in one way or another. Let me know how you're feeling it, what's going on in your life. Drop it down in the comments. If you want to take a look at your chart and see exactly what's going on for you, get a hold of me. My email and my website information is down in the description box. So yeah, hang on and know that my thoughts are with you during this eclipse season. And I think we're probably going to find ourselves in a different place entirely in a couple of months. Yeah, let's just see if we can move forward peacefully, right? Let's see if we can keep things balanced and see that everybody is able to walk away from things satisfied. Thanks for being here. I really, really appreciate that. And I will see you next time. I want to do some live readings again soon. That was a lot of fun. I was going to do it today, but my schedule went sideways and I wasn't feeling good yesterday. So that Mars entering into Pisces kind of got me a little bit as far as feeling under the weather last night, but I'm feeling better today. This morning was a little slow going, but yeah. And then now we have a storm. So boy, am I surrounded by Pisces stuff all over in my environment. And I bet a lot of you guys are too. So I will see you soon. Take really good care. May the stars forever be in your favor. And I will, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.